Greetings and salutations, listener, and welcome to another edition of the Coco and Daltz podcast. We're real people, and we do real reviews, and they're really good.
That's what we've been told.
We are really good. We've got all sorts of feedback lately, and people just love the podcast. So thanks, listener, for spreading the word. I'm not Coco.
And I'm not Daltz.
And tell us, not Daltz, what are we talking about in this star-studded episode of the podcast?
So today we are reviewing the brand new Netflix original film, Stowaway.
Ooh.
It's about they aren't all astronauts. Toni Collette is an actual astronaut. She's the commander. Anna Kendrick plays a doctor, and Daniel Day Kim plays like a horticulturalist / botanist. Mm-hmm. They are on a mission to Mars because, we're trashing this planet. So we need to be able to figure out if we can live on another one.
Right. We need to break out and diversify.
Exactly. And within several hours of launch, they find a stowaway.
Ooh.
A guy named Michael, played by Shamir Anderson. He was a launch support crew member who somehow ended up getting trapped on the ship. We never really got a satisfactory answer for how that exactly happened.
It just kind of shows up in the rafters.
Yeah.
In the drop ceiling in the space station.
And then his appearance also ends up damaging the CO2 recycle unit. Mm-hmm. So now, in addition to not being able to take carbon dioxide out of the air, now that they have a fourth crew member on board, they don't have enough oxygen or food to make the trip to Mars. So they have to figure out how that's going to work. They want Michael to kill himself. That's the answer from ground support. But Anna Kendrick doesn't want that to happen, so they have to find oxygen elsewhere to try to support the four of them. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to say a whole lot else, or else I'll give away the ending, and I know Daltz doesn't like it when I spoil stuff. But
I think there are other people out there who don't like spoilers either. It's not just me. It's not just a me thing.
But you're the one sitting right here.
Right,
so,
true.
Do you have anything to add to the summary, Daltz?
My favorite part of this whole movie was when Wilson floats away and Tom Hanks really cries and gets upset, and that was really gripping to me. I never really had that kind of emotion attached to a volleyball, so that was my favorite part of this.
So you're saying you liked the movie?
Yeah, it was great. No, actually, that was Castaway.
Oh, okay.
Not Stowaway.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say I must have fallen asleep during that part because I don't remember that. So,
were you done with the summary?
Yeah, I was done. If you didn't have anything to add.
No, I think this was pretty terrible. It was not a great movie. I wanted to like it. There were the story idea is great.
Yes,
first
definitely.
of all, what a fantastic idea for a story. Secondarily, I thought it was really neat the way we only had their perspective in all these shenanigans. So when they're talking to ground control, we never hear the other end of the conversation. There's no guy sitting in Houston going, "Well, you got to kill him." It's just Toni Collette going, "I don't want to kill him." So I like that part of it, and I also like the way they set it up too. Was they were talking to a television network back on Earth, and they were having an interview like, "How does it feel to be going to Mars?" And they didn't show the television talking heads and everything like that. So there were some really good parts of this.
Yeah, definitely.
And the special effects were really good. Mm-hmm. I didn't see any strings. I didn't see any blue screens. I didn't see, it was like that old joke where somebody wears like a neon green shirt to the green screen thing, and then you can see right through them. I didn't see any kind of shenanigans like that. So that was really good. And the spaceship and the space station, I should say, they looked legit. Everything looked good. So those are my positives.
And your negatives?
The story was just completely unbelievable. I don't. I think that you should weigh in with what you were saying all along, Coco. Like every 20 minutes, maybe even every 15 minutes, with the most logical, really sensible, I should say, the most sensible thing that was the good solution.
Well, let me just say so far that I agree with everything Daltz has said. I really wanted to like this. The premise is fantastic. But nobody used any sort of logic or reasoning
for such smart people.
I mean, they find this guy like 12 hours after they take off, but they don't turn around and go back to Earth.
Which is the logical thing. They just got up in the air, pretty much.
Yeah, and Toni Collette did have a throwaway line about we don't have enough fuel to go back. And I'm like, but you just took off. Like, you've got enough fuel to go to Mars for 5 months, but you don't have enough to turn around? Like,
I'm sure there was some sort of hint to that we just didn't pick up.
Right.
I would hope, but it just didn't make any sense why they didn't just turn around.
Like, every time we watch one of these space disaster movies, which Netflix is really specializing in right now, between the Midnight Sky, the George Clooney movie that came out a few months ago, and then the Hilary Swank series that I can't remember the name of, that was terrible, back in September. Every time there's a space disaster and somebody has to turn around, they do have to use the gravity of like another planet or something to slingshot around it to reverse directions. But you'd think at that point, 12 hours after takeout, they could just turn around. But they don't turn around. And they just get farther and farther away. Yeah.
And then they just get deeper and deeper into the problem.
And then they have less and less fuel. And they're trying everything they can. Like Daniel Day Kim has algae that he was going to use on Mars to grow some plants. And they use the algae to try to create enough of their own oxygen for the space.
Which was a good idea.
Which is a good idea. But I forgot where I was going with that, actually.
Well, while you're thinking of that, the Hilary Swank show was Away.
Away, okay.
So very
Stowaway.
close.
Yeah.
Stowaway, Away. But yeah, I agree with you that every time you said that, it was like, it was in the back of my mind too. I was like, what's preventing them from going back? Is like one end of the conversation that we didn't hear was that this is the reason we can't go back. You know, like, I don't know.
So that's and now I just lost it again. Crap. Oh, I remember. So Daniel Day Kim has to use his algae to try to create enough oxygen just to get them to Mars so that they can reload.
The four of them, yeah.
Yeah, and so now basically their whole reason for going to Mars is destroyed because now they don't have any plants to plant or whatever. And at one point, you can hear Toni Collette talking to Mission Control, and she's like, well, the mission is shot. And I'm like, so there's no reason for you to continue on to Mars. If you're not going to be able to complete the mission for the whole reason you're going to Mars is to plant these plants, and now you can't do it because you've had to use them to make oxygen to keep yourself alive. So turn around.
Yet another reason to turn around.
Right, exactly.
Like, is this one of those like really super proud dad moments where it's like, we're not turning around, it's like Chevy Chase in European or in Vacation, where it's just like, no, we're gonna have fun, damn it.
Like, I understand this isn't just you and me hopping in the car and going to Maine for the weekend. Like, I understand a lot goes into these missions and even just launching the ship off the Earth into space. But so it's not like, oh, we can just turn around and then like next week we can just hop back on the shuttle and do it again. Like, I get that. But once they left the Earth, nobody used any logic. And I would like to preface this by saying I am not any kind of astrophysicist or rocket scientist. I got an English degree. So, people who are actual rocket scientists who may be listening, please don't at me on Twitter and call me an idiot, because I know I'm an idiot. But I'm just like, this whole movie didn't need to happen.
No.
Like, I was so frustrated for the entire 156 runtime because it was just stupid decision after stupid decision.
I will say this, though, that the movie, when it was over, I didn't think it was over. And so that surprised me, which in a good way, because usually I'm looking at my phone or I'm hitting the play button on the TV to see how much time is left and stuff like that. And I didn't actually do that. So, but it was really painful to sit through that. It was really painful to sit through that suspension of logic and the broken logic that they were using. And all, like we were saying, all these really smart people. One's a doctor, one's an astronaut, and one's a biochemist or something like that. And
we never, like I said about Michael being aboard the ship, we never got any satisfactory answers for anything. Like, we have no idea how he got trapped on board. And because we only heard one end of the conversations, we don't really know what ground control said to Toni Collette. Like, I mean, we do in terms of there's not enough oxygen for 4 people to get to Mars instead of just 3, but there was just a lot of not explaining things.
I think this is what happened. Is he was up there fixing something and he just fell asleep in the drop ceiling on the shuttle.
And then, because some other crew member was like, not my problem. They just like, screwed him into the
bolted
panel
him in there,
instead of waking him up and being like, yo, dog.
There's just a union guy who's like, oh, I got to go to lunch.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I'll let the next guy deal with it.
Right, totally.
Meanwhile, Michael's in space.
Right, totally.
Yeah, and I will say, I don't want to spoil the ending, but maybe I will anyway, but the resolution to how they get the extra canister. So what we should also say is that there's more oxygen in this space station. There's oxygen canisters, but the rocket booster that's at the far end of it couldn't be any farther away.
Right, it's like a mile away from
these tension cables that are in between the solar panels and the counterbalance to the spinny thing that makes everybody violently ill. Of course, it's so far away, and it's a trial to get out there and get back, and just impossibly placed. Mm-hmm. So that was stupid. Number one. And number two, they go out there. So Daniel Day-Lewis and
Daniel Day-Kim,
right? Sorry,
same guy.
I thought it was Daniel Day-Lewis there. I was like, this is his best role.
Yeah,
he's playing an Asian guy. This is really good. But they go out and they come back, and the mission fails for whatever reason. So then Anna Kendrick says, "I'll go back out there during the solar storm." I was like, "How long is the solar storm going to last?" "Oh, about 20 minutes." "Well, I'm going to go out anyway." It's like, why didn't you just wait 20 minutes? Like, yeah, totally. I understand because they still had number of days to go before this 10-day deadline. It's like, no, I'm just going to go now. It's like, okay, well, then you're going to get zapped by radiation. You're going to die. And you're the doctor. You're the only doctor on board in this. Is that really the smartest choice? So the climax just didn't wash with me at all. And again, somebody who's super smart, supposed to be super smart, making a really stupid decision.
I will say I did think all the actors had good performances. I mean, that's an impossible situation, to find yourself in, which is why this movie could have been very good.
It could have been really good.
And instead, we got this. But I liked Toni Collette. I liked Daniel Day-Kim. Daniel Day-Kim was actually the one who was most in favor of Michael killing himself, right, which is not what I'm used to seeing Daniel Day-Kim do.
Who is known best for
Hawaii Five-0 and Lost. But I mean,
he was really good in My Left Foot too.
But once again, they're in an impossible situation. I mean, this is nobody's fault except for the union guy who bolted Michael into the panel instead of waking him up.
And then punched his card and went home.
Right, totally.
And watched America's Got Talent.
Right, totally. So I thought the performances were all really good.
They were. Yeah.
They made the best of what they could from a script that was problematic.
I will say I like Toni Collette, but I didn't really buy her in this. I didn't understand her performance because she was the commander in chief or the captain or whatever she was, and she was tormented obviously by this decision. So she was alternately stoic and breaking down and crying, not necessarily by herself in one and with the crew in another. You know what I mean? It was just, she was kind of inconsistent. But I like the rest of the cast. I wasn't buying Anna Kendrick as an astronaut. I don't know if that's a height elitist thing or something like that, but I just can't imagine her passing any of those physical tests to get on the shuttle to go up into space. Daniel Day-Lewis was fantastic. He was in physically really good shape, and I bought him being an astronaut guy because he looked like he could do it, although they made him somehow the fall guy for somebody's got to be the vomit king, and he was the guy who was doing that. So for some reason that didn't really make sense to me either, but overall, yes, a lot of missed opportunities here, a lot of missed potential. Just a really, really good idea that just didn't get executed properly.
I'm also glad they did not make Shamir Anderson's character evil. I was worried that he stowed away for nefarious purposes, right, and was going to wreak havoc, and instead that's not actually what happened. So I'm glad for that. I'm glad it was more of a moral dilemma and not space Freddy Krueger coming for Anna Kendrick.
Well, there was that one scene where they're talking with Daniel Day-Kim and Anna Kendrick are going up on the cables and they're trying to get the oxygen, and Toni Collette and Michael or Shamir Anderson are listening to find out what's going on. And there's that one scene where he takes the earbud out and he looks, and I'm thinking, he's going to strangle Toni Collette. Oh, no. And he's going to hit the eject button on these two people, and then he's going to fly away.
And then it's like Homeboys in outer space, right, and he's flying around in his space hoopty. And
it's been a long time since we had a space hoopty mention in the podcast. But I thought there was that one scene where I was like, well, actually, that would be cool, like for the story. You know, it would be an interesting moment. But it didn't happen. He actually was just happy, and he was wiping tears away or something like that. Like everybody in this movie cries.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody in this movie is tormented, and it's just after a while, I get it. I understand it. I figure it out. But and again, the logic of the ending, I just can't get past it. Is that they were saying you got to kill the Stowaway in order to survive, and yet the doctor says no, I'll fall on the sword.
Right.
For the guy who doesn't have any skills.
Right, exactly. For the guy who's doing data entry for Daniel Day Kim.
He's like the equivalent to a typist.
Right, totally.
So
Daniel Day Kim, I thought I'm going to come back to him and say he did a really good job. Like, he was anguished because this is his life's work. You know, this is his passion. Like, he wants to contribute to the good of humanity, and now he can't do it. You know, his research is ruined, and it's no fault of his own. It's no fault of anybody's, you know. And I thought, you know, I didn't like to see him, like, give Michael the, you know, injection, like the EpiPen with, you know, whatever.
With death in it.
With death in it. Like, I didn't like to see that, but, you know, at the same time, I understood, like, this guy is looking at 2 years away from his family for nothing. His life's research is ruined. Like, he's desperate, and they're all in a no-win situation. And yeah, I understood that. So I thought, of everybody, I thought he did the best.
I agree. I thought he was the best performer by far in this one. I'm not a huge Anna Kendrick fan, and I think that dates back to the fact.
What?
Oh, I think that dates back to the fact that she was so unlikable in Up in the Air, but intentionally, like her character was not likable, and she played that so well. And so I again, not to harp on this, but she just didn't strike me as an astronaut.
Well, you should watch the Twilight movies then, because she did A+ work on that.
Said no one ever about the Twilight movies.
I mean, compared to the other actors in those movies,
oh really?
She did do A+ work.
Wow. I didn't even know she was in that.
Yeah, she. I haven't seen those since they came out. So
out of 26 letters, Coco, what are you giving away? No, what is this one? Stowaway. Not to be confused with Castaway or Away.
I'd give
it Anchors Away, actually.
I give it like a D.
D?
Yeah.
Is that the lowest grade you've given anything?
Well, on Coco's Buzz blog, I've given things like a D-. So the reason I give this a D instead of a D-, like I said, the performances were good, the special effects were good, the story was good, it just didn't...
Fell apart.
All set up, no payoff.
I would say out of 10 rocket boosters, I'm giving this like maybe 4.
Wow.
It's one of the worst ones we've seen. We've seen some pretty awful stuff lately. I mean,
yeah.
We saw Thunder Force, and that
was terrible.
That was garbage.
I think I gave Thunder Force a D-.
Yeah, and I think I gave that a 4 too. So I'm sure listener will write in and correct us on our grades, because listener has like a spreadsheet with all our grades on it. But I would say this is a pass. This is a definite pass, and watch reruns of Friends or something like that instead.
Wow. Daltz does not like Friends, so if he's recommending Friends reruns over a movie, it's bad.
That's the only thing I could think of off the top of my head.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Daltz has spoken. Skip Stowaway.
Skip or stream? No. So anything else to add, Coco, about this fine adaptation?
No, I think we've beaten this dead horse.
Yeah, okay. So for another episode of the podcast, listener, thanks for joining us. We know you have a choice. Thanks for choosing us. I'm not Coco.
And I'm not Daltz.